Hello guys, I'm Rajdeep. Today we are going to revise chapter 5 of CA Inter Strategic Management, that is business level strategies. In first chapter we studied there are three levels in an organization. Those are corporate level, business level and functional level. What does the corporate level people do? They will formulate the strategy for the whole organization, not for the particular business or not for the particular function. They will formulate for the whole organization, and they will allocate the resources to different businesses. And what is the duty of this business level managers? Their duty is to make that particular business which is allotted to them as profitable one. And functional level, they look after the different functions like marketing, financing, accounting, etc. So today's our discussion is about business level strategies. In this is a very small chapter. In this we have to learn only 4 concepts. First one is competitive analysis, that is analyzing the competitive environment as per Porter's five forces model, and we have to learn what exactly business level strategies are, and Michael Porter's generic strategy and best cost provider strategy. First, let us see what exactly Porter's five forces model competitive analysis says. See, every business operates in the competitive environment. Competitive state of an industry applies a strong influence on how firms develop their strategies. So, in simple, any organization strategy will be based on the competitiveness of that particular industry. Whether that industry is attractive to earn profit or it is not attractive, and also whether the profitability is high or low, whether the competition is high or low. Based on all these aspects, a firm which will operate in particular industry will formulate a strategy. Competitive pressure operating in 5 areas of the overall market. See, in overall market there will be 5 pressures as per Porter. Let's see what are they. First is the nature of rivalry in the industry. That is a particular firm's rivals. Those are one of the pressure in a particular industry. And threats of substitutes, that is substitute to the product which we are offering. And threats of new entrants, that is there might be a chance that the new entrant will enter into a industry. Bargaining power of a buyer, that is buyer's capacity to make that price of the particular product into reduction of that particular product's price. And bargaining power of supplier, that is to increase the price of the raw material. Okay. See, the strategist can use the 5 force model to determine what competition is like in a given industry by undertaking the following steps. So before formulating the strategy, you should analyze what exactly industry is doing, like whether that industry is profitable one or whether it is attractive. In simple, whether it is attractive or not attractive. How it is defined? Based on the competition, level of competition, based on the level of profit, based on the growth rate in that particular industry. After analyzing all these things, we will come into decision whether that industry is profitable one or not. Okay. While analyzing that particular industry, following steps are included. Identify the specific competitive pressure associated with each of the 5 forces model. So we studied 5 forces model. We have to check what are the different pressure, competitive pressure are there from those 5 pressures, from the rivals, from substitute, from new entrants. We have to analyze different pressures from these 5 forces. Later, evaluate how strong the pressure comprising each of the 5 forces are. And later, we should consider all the factors together, all the 5 forces together, all the competitive pressure from 5 forces together, and we have to come to the decision that how strong that pressure is there, how strong that competition is there, whether it's low, whether it's strong, moderate or normal, or whether it's weak, like that. We have to come to one decision, determine whether the collective strength of 5 competitive forces is conducive to an attractive profit. And you have to make sure that whether the those five forces which are existing in that particular industry, whether those are helpful to gain a profit or not. You have to come to the decision regarding that. Okay, we saw five forces. In brief, I said like what is the meaning of new entrant, buyer bargaining power, supplier bargaining power. Let's see in depth. First thing we are going to see is threat of a new entrant. That is possibility of the new entrant coming into an industry. What will be the pressure when a new entrants come? Obviously, the product will flow into the market. Whereas when the supply increases, demand remains constant, the price will be decreased, because of which profitability of the existing firms might get reduced. See, new entrants can reduce industry profitability because they add new production capacity, leading to increasing supply of the product even at the lower price, and can substantially erode existing firms' market share in the position. That is, when they come into the market and if they give the same products at the low price, then obviously the existing firms will incur loss, because all consumers go towards that. For example, better example is Jio. They came into the market and they gave data at free itself for 6 months or something. Later they kept only nominal amount for that, so all the customers went towards that. Whereas earlier Reliance, Idea and Vodafone, they used to enjoy the market, but now they reduced their market share position. A firm's profitability tends to be higher when other firms are blocked from entering a new industry. So when there is a less possibility of new entrants in an industry, then we can say that existing firms will be earning so much profit, because product is limited, demand will be huge, supply will be limited, because of which there is a possibility that they will increase the price of that particular product. To discourage new entrants, existing firm can raise barriers to entry. So existing firms, they can raise certain barriers. Common barriers are, what are the different barriers they can raise? One is capital requirement. See, when for a particular firm, if the capital requirement is more, they will be avoided from entering to new market. So when capital requirement to enter into a particular industry is more, that is huge capital is required. For example, infrastructure industry. In infrastructure industry, they need a lot of capital. So in this case, there will be less competitors, because new entrants might not be having that much capital which is required to set up a plant. So if it is less, there is a possibility of more and more new entrants coming into a market. Economies of scale. So if old organization are enjoying economies of scale, that is utilizing resources to the maximum extent, maximum utilization of available resources. If they does so, what happens? Production will be nearly 90-100%. So when the production is 90-100%, fixed cost, not total fixed cost per unit goes on reducing, because of which they might enjoy more profit, or else they will reduce the price of their product, which will be not available for the new entrants, because new entrants new to the market, customers require some days to understand that there is a new entrant in the market who is better than those people. To run the business to that extent of period of time, they should charge the price to the when you compare to your competitor, they should charge more. For example, I am a old market. There are two companies, A and B. B is a new entrant. Now total fixed cost, let us assume 1 lakh, and the product here they are producing 10,000 economies of scale, that is maximum production. And here same fixed cost, but here there is not much demand because as it is a new industry. So here they are producing only 5,000 units. Here what happens? 10 rupees fixed cost per product, 10 rupees. Here it will be 20 rupees. Because of which they have to charge more, price to their customer. There is a possibility that customer may not accept that price because the product are same, satisfaction is same. Why they have to give more? Why they have to pay more? So if economies of scale is there in existing businesses, then that will be one of the barrier for the new entrant. Next one is product differentiation. So as we already learned, profit will be more and reserves will be there in existing competitors, existing firms, because of which they can go for product differentiation, as it includes more and more research and development cost. They can afford it, but the new entrants, it is difficult. Switching cost. Switching cost is nothing but cost incurred by customer from shifting one product to other. So for example, let us assume one organization is using Tally now, Tally software. They have to go for SAP. Okay. Here they can't directly purchase the SAP because here switching cost will be there. Like SAP operates in a different manner, so they need some training to the employees who operates in SAP and so many other SAP software expenses. So whenever the switching cost is more, buyer do not go to switch their product. They will be remain with existing product. So whenever the switching cost is more, it will be one of the barrier to the new entrant. Whereas whenever the switching cost is less, for example, your day-to-day, requirements, day-to-day needs. For example, if you take soaps, the switching cost is not much. So here there is a possibility of new entrants. Whereas in case when the switching cost is more to the buyer, that will be barrier to the new entrant. Brand identity. This is simple. Old existing organization will be having their identity in the market. For example, what Samsung mobile have now. There are many software Android mobile phones which are better than Samsung, but still Samsung has its own name in the market because it has its brand value since so many years. If the brand value of that existing product are so good, then that will be one of the barrier to the new entrant. Access to distribution channel. So if a new entrant gets access to the distribution channel, existing distribution channel, then there is a possibility that new entrants might enter into industry. If they do not have access, if they want to build their own distribution channel, then there is a possibility that new entrants might go back because they need a huge cost to create a distribution channel and it requires so much time also. Possibility of aggressive retaliation by existing players. This is simple. They might go for some aggressive marketing, aggressive pricing. They will reduce the price itself. They will make sure that their existing customers will remain with them. They do not go for new product. They offer products at less price. They give some aggressive advertisement like that. This is all about threats of new entrant. That will be one of the forces among 5 forces model. Next is bargaining power of the buyer. That is buyer's capacity on deciding the price of the product, quality of the product, like that. This force will become heavier depending on the possibility of the buyer forming groups or cartels. So whenever buyer forms groups or cartels are nothing but groups, same. So whenever buyer creates it, there is a possibility that seller have to agree to the buyer because If he get the business, he will get so much business. If he don't get, then there will be zero business, because they are operating in a group. Customers are operating in a group. Quite often, users of industrial product come together formally or informally and exert pressure on the producer. Industrial products, buyers of industrial product or service can sometimes exert considerable pressure on existing firms to secure lower price or better service, or both. When different industry, for example, all steel cutting industry, the steel manufacturer is a seller, steel cutting industry, those are buyers. If they form a group together and if they say this much you have to charge for the steel, then steel manufacturer do not have other options, other than agreeing to the this steel cutting industries. So, and also they might ask for the better services, and also for both. This leverage means advantage, is particularly evident. This advantage will be there to the buyers when the buyer have a full knowledge of the source of product and their substitutes. So whenever the buyer has the full knowledge of the product what he is purchasing, then he will be knowing the cost of that particular product, how much they might incur, and if they are charging more profit, he will ask why you are charging more, and he will be knowing that he will get the product at the less price in other with other supplier, so he can go for that supplier also. And also when he have the knowledge of their substitute, for example, tea and coffee best. Now coffee, let us assume per kg it will be 300, let us assume 300. Tea per kg 350. If the buyer know the alternatives, know the substitutes, then the buyer who is purchasing tea might go for coffee. So whenever the buyer has the knowledge of substitute as well as the source of the product, there is a possibility of bargaining power of the buyer. They spend a lot of money on the industry's product. That is the buyer who spend a lot of money on the industrial product, because those are big buyers. Because if they buy company, the supplier will be in the huge profit. If they go to the other supplier, then this supplier will be in the huge loss, because those are the big buyers. He will be getting the so much huge profit in a single shot. So no supplier wants to leave those buyers, big buyers. So what they will do, they will give certain discounts, and they will be adjusted to the pressure of that particular buyer. The industry's product is not perceived as critical to the buyer's need, and buyers are more concentrated than firm supplying of the product. So when the product is not that important to the buyer will not purchase it if the supplier charges more than what he expects. Okay. Now let us see bargaining power of a supplier. Okay. Quite often, suppliers too exercise considerable bargaining power over companies. The more specialized the offering from the supplier, greater is his clout. So whenever supplier offers more and more specialized item, then his bargaining power will be equally proportional, because specialized product only there will be only few suppliers. So he says, if you need this specialized product, take. If you don't want, go. The bargaining power of a supplier determines the cost of raw material and other inputs of the industry, and therefore industry attractiveness and profitability. So how does the bargaining power of supplier will affect the competitiveness? Because bargaining power of the supplier will decide the price of the raw material. If the price of the raw material is more, then profitability should also be the more. Profitability will be less. So it will show how much attractive the industry is, how much attractive the industry is by the way of earning profit, or by the way of cost, whether the cost is more or less. Okay, when does the supplier can command the bargaining power? When their products are crucial to the buyer and substitutes are not available. So whenever the substitute for that particular product is not available and that is very, very important to the buyer, then they go for power, get the power or control over the industry. They can erect high switching cost. Whenever buyer wants to switch from one product to other product, if that switching cost is more, then he will stay with the supplier itself by paying some more what he asked. So whenever the switching cost is more, there will be power of the supplier. They are more concentrated than their buyers. That is, for a particular purchaser, particular industrialist, his supplier is more important than his buyer. Then at that time, there is a possibility of bargaining power of a supplier. Okay. Next is the nature of rivalry in the industry. That is, level of competitiveness in the particular industry. For example, the intensity of rivalry, that is the capacity, the force of the rivalry in the industry is a significant determinant of industry attractiveness and profitability. If the rivalry is so strong, then it is difficult to earn more profit. If the rivalries are weak and if you can encash their weaknesses, then you can earn more profit and the industry will be attractive. The intensity of rival can influence the cost of the suppliers, because if the industry, that particular rival is so strong, then he might ask suppliers to charge more to his competitors. So if he is not strong, he can't, he can't say to his suppliers. If he is strong, his suppliers have to purchase, because he have to agree, because he will be the big buyer, big purchaser. So he will be having control over distribution and also of attracting customers, and thus directly affect the profitability. So industry rival can affect all these areas. The more intensive the rivalry, the less attractive is the industry. So how much strong the rivals is, that is, more strong the rival, the less attractive the industry. Okay, rivalry among competitors tends to be cutthroat and the industry profitability low. When will be the rivalries, becomes to the, very intensive competitive pressure. That is, when an industry has no clear leader. When the industry do not have the clear leader company who dominates the industry, then they keep on charging their own prices. They do not listen for anyone. So at that time, profitability might become low. Competitors in the industries are numerous. So many competitors, there is no other option than reducing the price. Competitor operates with a high fixed cost. So if the competitor operates with a high fixed cost, then they can't even come out from the particular industry also. And also, they can't stay also. They will be like, it will be barrier for the exit. Competitors face a high exit barrier. This is what I said. For example, one medicine company is there. They set a plan to develop a medicine of rupees 10 crore. Now, there is a huge competition in that market and they want to come out. But for this product, what they have to do, that is specialized, that is not useful to any other industry. So they have to give it to the scrap, and scrap seller says, I will give you 10 lakh rupees, not more than that. So instead of getting a loss of 9.9 crore rupees, they will stay in the market by earning a loss of some 20 lakhs per year, like that. So when the exit barrier is more, so the competitors will be more, because of which profitability will also be less. Competitors have little opportunity to differentiate their offerings. So whenever the competitor do not have different product than his competitor, then they have to compete in the same market for the same customer with no differentiation, which will be difficult to earn more profit. The industry faces slow or diminished growth. So when the industry growth is also less, then there is a possibility that threat of the rivals will be there more. That is, the industry is not much profitable. Okay. Next is threat of substitutes. Substitute product offering a price advantage and or performance improvement to the consumer can drastically alter the competitive characteristics of the industry. A final force that can influence the industry profitability is the availability of the substitute for an industry's product. So when the particular substitutes are available to the particular customer, and he checks which is profitable, whether our substitute or whether our current product. If he thinks current product, it will be like, and he will see what is the price of both, and by comparing the price he will check which is profitable one. If substitute is profitable one, he gets shifted to substitutes. Substitute products are latent source of competition in an industry. In many cases, they become a major constitute of competition. For example, investment. If the person wants to invest, he will be thinking of many different ways: bank, savings account, or mutual funds, bonds, saving account, investment in stock, etc. He will check, okay, bank will give me 6% return, mutual fund there is a possibility of 9% return, and if you go for real estate, and he will check all these things. So threat of a substitute will be one of the force of the market. Okay, now comes our second one, the second concept, business level strategies. See, in simple, I will say what are the duties, what are the objectives of business level strategies. First thing is to find the customer. They have to define who are their customer. They can't concentrate on whole market. They have to concentrate on particular competitor, and they have to check who are those particular customers, and they have to check who are those particular customers. And next objective is to satisfy the needs of their customer, because of which it will satisfy even organization's objective. An organization core competency should be focused on satisfying customer needs or wants in order to achieve the above average returns. This is done through business level strategies. Business level strategies detail action takes to provide value to the customer and gain a competitive advantage by exploiting the core competencies in specific individual product or service market. Customers are the foundation of an organization's business. When will be served, what needs have to be met, and how those needs will be satisfied are determined by the senior management. What is the objective? They have to check what are the needs of the customers, how to satisfy those needs, when they have to satisfy those needs. All these are the duty of the business level managers. Knowing one's customer is very important in obtaining and sustaining a competitive advantage. So analyzing who exactly our customer are is very important, because if Mercedes concentrate on middle level, middle class people, then those are not at all their customers, because those are luxurious vehicles. They require huge cost. So Mercedes have to concentrate high level people. In the same manner, for example, better example is Tata Nano. Why Tata Nano failed? Because they didn't know who are their customer. Once they said that is for the people who are planning to purchase bike, and next they said that is for the people who are interested in purchasing a car, but they do not have much cash or much amount, and next they said the people who are planning in future years. So they failed in defining who are their customers, because of which that actually Tata Nano failed. Organization must determine how to bundle resource, that is how to bring all the resources together, and capabilities to form core competencies. Core competencies are nothing but those are the capability of a firm which will give competitive advantage to the organization, and then use these core competencies to satisfy the customer needs or create value for them. Business level strategies concerned with issues such as meeting the needs of key customer, achieving advantage over competitors, avoiding competitive disadvantage. So what are the objectives, or what are the issues concerned with business level strategy? First one is very important, customers are God, that is to satisfy the needs of the customer. Next is achieving the advantage over competitor, that is getting a competitive advantage through core competencies, and also to avoid a competitive disadvantage. Next is our third concept, Michael Porter's generic strategy. Why it is called as generic strategy? It is applicable to all kind of organization in general. So it will be called as generic strategy. According to Porter, strategies allows organization to gain competitive advantage from three different bases. So Porter says organization can gain competitive advantage through three bases. One is your low cost, that is cost leadership. Next one is by differentiating your products, and third one is focusing to the particular narrow market. So by all these things, there is a possibility that you can obtain a competitive advantage. Okay. These strategies have been termed generic because they can pursued by any type or size of the business and even by the not-for-profit organization. See, he says broad market, cost leadership and differentiation. If they targets narrow market, small market, that is focused cost leadership and focused differentiation. First, let us understand what exactly cost leadership is. Cost leadership is nothing but you will be incurring less cost than your rivals, and because of which you will be providing products to your customers at a less cost than your rivals. It is a low cost competitive strategy that aims at broad mass market. It required vigorous pursuit of cost reduction in the area of procurement, production, storage and distribution of the product or service, and also economies in overhead cost. So it requires different kind of cost cuttings, beginning from the procurement, ends at services, other services, that is your overheads. To that extent, they should target on reducing the cost, that is cost cutting process. At that time, they will become cost leaders and they can dominate an industry. And because of which, see, what is the why people went for Redmi mobile phones? Redmi become a most sold mobile phones in India. Why they went? Because the cost of the Redmi mobile is less when you compare to the Samsung, where Samsung, when the Redmi entered, Samsung used to offer the same features but at a very huge price, whereas Redmi they come up with 12-13,000, where at that time for the same feature mobile Samsung was charging some 30-40,000. Because of which we call Redmi as cost leader. Because of its lower cost, the cost leader is able to charge a lower price for its production than its competitor and still make satisfactory profit. A primary reason for pursuing forward, backward and horizontal integration strategies is to gain a cost leadership. So why we enter into our raw material providers business? Because we will get a raw material such less price than now. That is existing business. When we what we are getting in existing business. Why we go to distribution channel? Because we no need to pay more profit to our distributors. So this is the one of the basic thing because of which organization go for forward integration or backward integration. To achieve cost leadership, following are the actions that could be taken. To achieve cost leadership, what are the things you should do? Forecast the demand of the product or service promptly. So you have to forecast how much demand is there, because you can't produce so huge production and you can't stop, because you will get, for example, you have the capacity to produce 1 lakh, but the demand is only 20,000. So if you think that if you produce 1 lakh units, then your fixed cost per unit will be less, and if you produce that will be waste because the demand is only for 20,000 products. So you have to analyze how much the demand is there. You have to forecast it. Optimum utilization of the resources to get a cost advantage. So you have to utilize to the more extent. Achieve economies of scale. Standardization of product for a mass production. Standardization is nothing but making similar. For example, batch costing, what you learned in that, for example, 10,000 units of same thing. So at this time what happens? You are not required to stop your production, and you are not required to adjust machine again and again, because of which your production goes on continuing and you incur less cost because of your economies of scale. Invest in cost saving technologies, resistance to differentiate till it becomes essential. So because differentiation requires so much cost towards research and development. Okay, what are the advantages? Against rivalry. See, competitors are likely to avoid a price war since the low cost firm will continue to earn profits after competitors compete away their profits. So when the particular organization gives a product at a less cost, then the rivals may not be at that position to give the product at that particular price, because of which they will limit their particular market, whereas cost leader can get the whole industry, whole market. Powerful buyers or customer would not be able to exploit the cost leader firm and will continue to buy its product, because if they leave this product, they have to pay more to the other supplier. Instead of that, they will not show their bargaining power. They will purchase at the price what supplier says, that is cost leader says. Cost leaders are able to absorb greater price increase before it must rise price to its customer, because there will be huge sales, because of which profit will be more. When the profit will be more, the cost leader will be in the position to absorb the profit by himself, which is reserves, which is profit, instead of charging more to their customers. Entrance. Low cost leader creates barrier to the market entry through its continuous focus on efficiency and reducing cost. See, when the cost leader is producing so much product, people will go for that. No one looks at the new product, because of which new product can't afford a low cost, because their production size will be small. Economies of scale will not be there, because of which they have to charge more. When the differentiation is not there in the product, customers will go for this cost leader. Compared to substitutes, low cost leader are more likely to lower cost to induce customers to stay with their product. So when you compare it to the substitutes, if your particular product itself of the lower cost, then you will not go for substitute. Okay, what are the disadvantages? Cost advantage may not be remaining for long, as competitor may allow also fall cost reduction technology. So it will not be in long term, because competitors might come up with the same technology. For example, Redmi was the cost leader, but now it's not, because Realme, Infinix, etc. different kind of mobile came up with the same cost leader techniques. Cost leaders can succeed only if the firm can achieve higher sale value, because their profit will be less. If they sell more, they will earn more profit. If they sell less, then it will be difficult. And also, cost leader can achieve cost leadership when the production is optimum. So when the production will be optimum, when the sales is optimum. Cost leaders tend to keep their cost low by minimizing advertising, market research and development, but this approach can prove to be expensive in the long run, because now they might go for normal sales without any advertisement, but in future they should have the brand name of their particular product. No, if advertisement is not there, that is difficult to create the brand name. Technology changes are greater threat to the cost leader. So whenever the technology changes, he should go for that, because of which he have to invest more and more on research and development. Okay, next is a differential strategy. This strategy is aimed at broad mass market and involves the creation of product or service that is perceived by the customer as unique. So differentiation, what you are going to do? You are making your product as unique when you compare to your competitors. Your product, what you are providing, is unique. For example, mobile phones. All the companies provide mobile phones, but Apple provides iOS mobile phones. All the company provide normal laptops. Apple provides MacBook. So these are some differentiation. They provide something unique to their customer, because of which customers are willing to pay. The uniqueness can be associated with the product design, brand image, features, technology, dealer network, or customer service. So in any of these, uniqueness might be there. Differentiation does not guarantee competitive advantage, especially if the standard product sufficiently meet customer needs, or if a rapid imitation by the competitors is possible. So differentiation will not guarantee you a competitive advantage. It do not guarantee you a success compared to your competitors, because if the customer are okay with the particular product which is now exist in the market, standard product, then they will not go for the differentiation product because they have to pay more. If the customers are okay with the Android mobile phone, if they are okay with the security of the Android mobile phone, then they will not go for Apple, because people usually go for Apple because of the security system in that particular mobile phones and MacBooks. If normal mobile phone also provide the same, then they are not going to pay that much amount to the Apple. Successful differentiation can mean a greater product flexibility, greater compatibility, low cost, improved service, less maintenance, greater convenience, or more features. See, your Maruti Suzuki is differentiation product because its maintenance cost is less. Risk of pursuing a differentiation strategy is that unique product may not be valued high enough by a customer to justify the higher price. So if customer thinks that the value which is provided by unique product, differentiated product, is not worth that high price, then they will not go for that particular product. Okay, what are the different basis for the differentiation? Based on the product, based on the pricing, and based on the organization. So product, innovative product that meet customer needs, not coming up with uniqueness means they should meet customer needs, can be area where a company has advantage over its competitors. And also pricing. Companies that differentiate based on the product price can either determine to offer the lowest price or can attempt to establish superiority through higher price. So in pricing also they can differentiate their product. Organization, maximizing the power of brand or using the specific advantage that an organization possesses can be instrumental to company's success. For example, Apple. Apple is the organization. When people hear about that, they are willing to pay for that. Okay, what are the advantages of differential strategy compared to rivalry? Brand loyalty acts as a safeguard against competitors. So the people once who are satisfied with the product of the particular differentiated strategist firm, then they will stay in that particular firm itself. They will not switch into other rivals. So it is difficult for the rivals to get the customers. Buyers, they do not negotiate for the prices as they get a special feature, and also they have fewer option in the market. So buyer can't negotiate or can't bargain because they are providing some unique product. All the competitors are not offering that. Only particular limited competitors are offering. If they don't want, they will not get that particular product itself. So they have to pay more. Supplier, because of differentiator charges premium prime, they can afford to absorb a higher cost of supplies. Again, the same thing as your cost leadership. Entrants, innovative feature are an expensive offer. So innovative features are expensive, as I already said in the beginning. Substitute product can't replace a differentiated product which have high brand value and enjoy customer loyalty. In simple, differentiated product will not be having substitute itself. If they have the substitutes, then that is not a differentiated product. What are the disadvantages? In long term, uniqueness is difficult to sustain. For example, Apple phone came up with the face unlock. That is only for 2 to 3 months. Next, all the mobile phone came up with the same feature at less price. So it is difficult to retain or sustain the uniqueness. Charging too high a price for differentiated features may cause the customer to switch off to the another alternatives. So charging more also might customer think that it do not worth that particular price, so they might switch to the normal product. Differentiated fails to work if its basis is something that it is not valued by the customer. So if customer do not want that particular feature, if the company brings that particular feature, that is of no use. That will not give any value to the customer. Next is focus strategy. Under focus strategy, you have focused cost leadership and focused differentiation. In simple, focused cost leadership is nothing but you will apply cost leadership to the narrow market. That will be focused cost leadership. Focused differentiated, you will apply differentiated to the product, differentiation strategy to the focused market, narrow market. For example, Rolls-Royce, they target only small market position. Okay, let's see what are the advantages of focused strategy. Premium price can be charged by the organization for their focused product or service because they are only focusing on the particular area. For example, Rolls-Royce, they are focusing on the particular kind of buyers because of which they can charge more premium price. Due to tremendous expertise about the goods or service that organization following focus strategy offers, rivals and new entrants may find it difficult to compete because they operate in a small environment, small industry, small market share. So they will be having the huge knowledge about that particular area, because of which the others whole the huge competitors are difficult to enter into that particular market. What are the disadvantages? The firms lacking in distinctive competencies may not be able to pursue focus strategy. So if they do not have something special than normal cost leader or normal differentiator, then there is of no use for the focus strategy. Due to the limited demand of the product or service, costs are high, which can cause a problem. Because they operate in a small area, the production capacity should be small, and the production is also will be less than the optimum level. In long run, the niche market, that is targeted market, could disappear because of the large competitors might take over that particular thing. Next and last concept is best cost provider strategy. Best cost provider strategy is simple. Best cost provider is the person who provides a same kind of product at the less price than is their competitors, or who provides some superior product, that is some more advanced product than existing product at the same price, then he will be said as best cost provider. It is directed towards giving customer more value for the money. You are providing more value. How? If you reduce the price and if you give the same value, then it will be more. You are keeping the price same but providing some more features, because of which again the value is more. By emphasizing both the low cost and upscale differences, the objective is to keep cost and price lower than those of the sellers of the comparable products. So the objective of best cost provider is simple: to fix the price less than his competitors, or to fix the price at the same price but products of superior quality. Best cost provider strategy involves providing customers more value for the money by two ways. By emphasizing the low cost and better quality difference. It can be done through offering product at a lower price than what is being offered by a rivals for products with comparable quality and feature. For example, let us assume 4 GB RAM, 48 MP camera. Now let us assume one company offering this at some 15,000. Now other company who is best cost provider has two options. One, to provide the same product at less than 15,000, like 14,000 or 13,000. Also he has he has one more option, that is to charge 15,000 only, but instead of 4 GB here he is providing 8 GB. So he has two options: one, to reduce the cost, or to keep the cost at the same level but increase the quality of the product. Charging similar price as by the rivals for the product with much higher quality and better features. So here ends our 5th chapter, that is business level strategies. Okay. This notes is available in the description box. If you want, you can go and download it, and also it is available in the Telegram channel CA Notes. And please don't forget to subscribe this CA Wonder YouTube channel. And also the whole full chapter of this, the full video of this particular chapter is there in my account, my YouTube account, my YouTube channel, Accounting Secrets. If you haven't watched and if you haven't subscribed, please go and watch. And if you like the video, please like the video, and also please subscribe to both the channels. Thank you.